Last year he appealed at the High Court but lost again. Today he'll take his case to the House of Lords.
I mean, it's not just a question of smoking on the train, that's how it started off. I mean, it's more a matter now of human rights. You know, the millions of people now can have their rights taken away from them if I lose.
The pro-smoking lobby is treating this as a test case, establishing whether smokers can be discriminated against in this way. The rail company is standing by its ban, saying a survey shows that 85% of passengers prefer to travel on totally smoke-free trains. The Lord's hearing is expected to conclude today, though the outcome may not be known for several weeks. Sean Killick, BBC News, Brighton.
And that's the news for the moment, and now from
Northern Ireland and St Kilda off the Scottish coast.
Walk along this 90-mile stretch of coast and, say the scientists, 100 million years of scientific history will unfold. Already recognised for its outstanding natural beauty and scientific interest nationally, many locals think it deserves global recognition.
This place is just special. Whichever of the World Heritage criteria you take, whether you take record of life, record of time, the integrity of the site, the superlative quality, the aesthetics, doesn't matter which criteria they put up, we match it. Therefore, we must have an obligation to the rest of the world to look after it.
It's the fossils that are unique. Thousands of students and tourists come every year to search for evidence millions of years old of dinosaurs, fish and amphibians. They call it the Jurassic Coast.
Well, it's one of the finest sites in the world for marine Jurassic Age fossils. And on a day like today, when it's rough and stormy, we've had a lot of rain, the sea's been smashing away, it actually washes away the cliffs and literally leaves thousands of fossils scattered on the beaches.
Not everyone wants World Heritage status. At present, to stop them being washed away, people can collect fossils as they please. This ichthyosaur was found recently. Some fear the new status could restrict fossil hunting, encouraging the unscrupulous to sell their finds illicitly. And some landowners fear the new status will bring tougher planning laws. But most locals want the accolade. They argue it'll bring more tourists and thus business and hotels to local towns, while safeguarding the history and environment of the coast.
This coastline is up against stiff opposition. Local differences must be sorted out. The government must be convinced to support the application, and the rest of the world must be convinced this region should have its place alongside natural wonders like the Grand Canyon in America and the Great Barrier Reef off Australia. Margaret Gilmore, BBC News, Dorset.
President Clinton is hosting a White House conference today about what's known as hate crime, attacks against ethnic and religious minority groups and homosexuals. At the weekend, he became the first US president to attend a gay rights gala where he called for equal treatment for all Americans.
An ecstatic welcome for Bill Clinton from America's biggest gay and lesbian organisation. For a US president to host a conference on hate crimes and speak at their gala was proof to all of them, including TV star Ellen DeGeneres. He was on their side.
Should we change the law? You bet. Should we keep fighting discrimination? Absolutely. Is this hate crimes conference important? It is terribly important. But we have to broaden the imagination of America.
Outside, though, protesters held up signs proclaiming homosexuality wasn't natural and God hated gays, reflecting fears of gay groups in America that hate crimes against them are on the rise. It's not just gays who are being targeted. Arson attacks on over 90 black churches last year raised fears racial tensions were worsening across the South. Asian Americans claim hate crimes against them are up. And though rallies by pro-Nazi groups are not in themselves illegal, like cross-burnings and marches by hooded members of the Ku Klux Klan, they continue to worry African Americans and Jews alike. And now there's a new tool, the internet.
Greetings, my Aryan brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Alpha website.
According to the Anti-Defamation League, so-called hate sites have doubled in the last 12 months, offering everything from Nazi symbols to dating services.
Such as the Aryan dating page.
Oh, my goodness. A free service available to single white women and men. Heterosexual white Gentiles only. Again, none of it illegal in the US, but who knows what the impact is on the young white males who commit most hate crimes. Every year, the gay community in Washington marches to draw attention to the victims of hate crimes. This year, they say, just the fact the president is hosting a special conference is an achievement. Drawing attention to a problem, officials admit they're still learning how to assess. Bridget Kendall, BBC News, Washington.
Russia and China have reached agreement on their equipment to investigate a stone circle built on top of it. It's near the village of Stanton Drew, not far from the ancient religious circles at Stonehenge and Avebury.
All that remains of the massive wooden temple, built here 5,000 years ago, is a stone circle. The giant oak posts rotted away centuries ago, and these experts from Bristol University have studied the site extensively, even though on the surface there's nothing more to look at than the stones.
The lithic phase, that is these great stones, represent the last and the final enlargement of it. But underneath is this huge timber building, or series of buildings, which have now rotted and decayed and are now quite invisible.
English Heritage used scanning equipment to map out the site. The temple probably looked like this, one of the largest and most elaborate prehistoric ceremonial sites ever found in Britain. Today, a news conference was held. It was described as a significant find.
Woodhenges and Stonehenges don't exist anywhere else in the world. And therefore, the more we know about them and find out about them, the more we know about ourselves. I mean, why was it that these extraordinary supernatural temples were built all over England?
It's thought to be as old as Stonehenge, built between 3,200 and 2,500 BC. Today, only sheep graze on the surface at Stanton Drew. Archaeologists are unlikely to ever uncover the ditches and circles that lie below the surface. Stephen Cape, BBC News, North Somerset.
And at 27 minutes past 1, the main